My daddy likes robots.
Hello everyone, this is Cybertronianbeast, and let's talk Transformers. Today we're taking a look at the new IDW Deluxes. This is Trailcutter, and he is, like I said at the beginning, he is based on the IDW Spotlight Trailcutter one-shot comic. As we all know in the fandom, originally he was called Trailbreaker, but for trademarking purposes, they lost the name Trailbreaker, and he's called Trailcutter now. This packaging you see here, this is the US packaging. It comes with the comic book here, the Canadian, I think it's the German, and a couple other European countries also aren't able to get the comic book. But you can get the comic book if you go to your local comic book store, and you can pick it up right there. There's my Spotlight Trailcutter comic. I got mine signed by Levo and James Roberts at TFCon this year, and it's quite good. This particular comic is special because the Trailcutter comic that comes with the toy is different than the one that you can buy in retail. Well, let's take a look at the packaging quickly. Get the spotlight out of the way there. Big window on the front. So you've got the figure, you've got his weapon, which also doubles as a piece on his robot mode. You've got the comic book in back, which has a really nice face sculpt or picture of Trailcutter. Right down here at the bottom, you've got a really small little picture of Trailcutter in alt mode. You've got the Thrilling 30 logo. Around the back, same on every packaging. Robot mode, alt mode, tech specs. No big whoop. You've got Trailcutter's bio right there. I'm not going to read it, but if you want to, just pause the video and take a read. Let's get this thing open, huh? Alright, so there is Trailcutter opened up and out of the packaging. And he's a really good looking figure. I really like him. He does come with this weapon here, which is essentially just the back of his truck mode with a couple guns here. But it does have a really cool feature. If you just open it up here, you expose a handle. You can take that handle and just flip it out. And you can underhook it here in his hand, and he can hold it as a shield. Trailcutter is known for being the character. It's really well done in the comic book, being known as the character that can produce force fields, and this can act as some kind of shielding. There is actually in the works a third-party add-on for this particular figure. It's a new set of hands and a force field, which has him doing this hands motion, like bam, and producing a force field in front of him. It's really quite cool. Let's get rid of this thing for a moment. Let's take a look at the figure. The head sculpt on him, if I can get a really good look at it here, it is light piped, but because of this giant thing in the back, you really don't have a really good look at it. So let's see if we can get some light in on it there. There you go. Yeah. It's not really well done light piping. It's very small, and it doesn't work very well. But the figure itself is phenomenal. One complaint I have, I don't really like his toes. They're just there. It's just like an afterthought. Like, oh crap, we forgot to give him toes. We'll just chuck a little triangle piece on the bottom of his feet. That'll be his toes. His knee joints are phenomenal. He's got high thigh swivels. He's got ball jointed hips. He's got a really tight waist swivel that comes right off. It's very indicative of the current line right now. Is the waist swivels just twist right off. The arms, they swivel 360. He's got a bicep swivel, an elbow joint that will go 90 degrees, and due to transformation you will get his hands to come inwards, but that's all. But it is nice to have them being a separate piece of plastic, and his head will swivel 360. But all in all, it's a great looking figure. I really do like the beefiness of the figure. As I mentioned, before we get into the transformation, I do want to take a quick peek at the comic. So let's actually put Trailcutter away for a moment and take a quick peek at the comic book, because it's a good part of the package too. So you've got this comic book here, and you can flip through it here, and it's really well done. This story was written by James Roberts, and James Roberts is the current guy that's writing the More Than Meets the Eye comic, and it's definitely one of the best comics that's written right now. This is the only comic that I've been able to find out of this first wave of figures, the Megatron, the Orion Pax, the Bumblebee, and the Trailcutter. This one here is the only one that I've been able to find that has any editing done to it. They took out all mentions of him being called Trailbreaker in the past. So let's see here. This page here I think stands out. Let's grab my original copy. Mark that. And let's go to this one here. Whoops. Slipped past it. Yep. There it is there. So here we go. The same panels. I'm just going to move the camera here so you can see it. You've got two panels there with Ultra Magnus talking, and you can see the editing done. They took out all mentions of him being called Trailbreaker. Because the first half of the book, he's actually wanting, he's struggling with his identity. And the fact that he's called Trailbreaker, it's been a while since I've actually read the book, but the fact that he's called Trailbreaker is a point of contention, and so he struggles with his name, and he has a really long discussion with Whirl. So yeah, it's a good read, but the fact that they took out the reason why they changed his name is something that I dislike. Anyway, to the figure, the transformation, really quite simple. First things that I like to do is I like to twist his head around and pop it right in. Let's get it in there. Come on. There you go. So you can actually have a headless Trailcutter walking around. Then I bring up the entire front assembly of the vehicle. That exposes the Autobot symbol. So that's completely hidden in robot mode. You can then grab it and bring the hood down on it. Now this is something that you want to remember, because this is only pegged in on the bottom. If you're messing around with the arms and putting the arms underneath the hood, which is where they go, if you push down on this, you're going to dislodge it, and it's a pain in the ass. So just kind of be aware that you're going to want to keep your hands away from that Autobot symbol after this moment. The arms, you're going to open up the forearms. You're going to flip the fists in. And that'll get that ready. Straighten them out. And now we're going to flip the wheels around. And we're twisting this gray bit here, this shoulder piece. We're twisting it so that these shoulders actually face this way. So let's see here. Perfect. Just like this. And it's a little bit further because you want them to line up with the wheels too. So yeah. And then you're going to take this forearm piece and you're going to twist it around so that it lines up with the outside of the vehicle. Like that. But you gotta, before you can peg that in, you gotta get the other side done first. So let's twist this around here. fling it around. And we can start to mess around here. Now there is a peg and a port on the insides of these arms. There's a giant peg right here and a big old port right here. So you're going to line those up. Let's see here. Great. Let's spin that around. And make sure it's all pegged in beautifully. Alright. Bring those sides up. And they'll peg in nicely right here. Great. Okay. Don't worry if it's a little loose. They definitely get a little bit more solid when you add the legs to it. The legs, flip in the crappy toe, and you're going to bend it in like this, and it's going to collapse in on itself here, just like that. So it's a bend there, bring it down, and then bend it in on itself like that. And then you just collapse them all together. And there's a peg in right there. You can peg that together there. There's also a peg on the back. Just make sure they all kind of work together. And you just you fit them all together and tighten everything up. And see, I've pushed it. I didn't mean to, but I pushed it in. So an easy fix for that is I just go and I push the bottom here. I put my thumb on the bottom and push it up, just like that. Then I can come down here and I can straighten out those wheels again, like that. Beautiful. This thing here, this does not move. It goes up and down like that, but the arm that it's on doesn't move, and I'm not overly big fan of that. But we're done the transformation. We're left with this though. So this, you just push it all together and you just kind of slide it all in there, just like that. And it's really quite good. And just like that, we've got ourselves a Trailcutter. I love the decals on the side. The Autobot symbol in the middle is very well placed. He could definitely, not done there. He could definitely do with an Autobot symbol in robot mode. I'm sure that there will be a repo label that you can get for that. All in all, he's a great little figure. I wouldn't mind there being a couple more pegs to keep him a little bit more solid. The little weapon on the back, it doesn't want to sit completely on the bottom for me, so you can see the white through that, right? And that's, I don't know, that bugs me. I wish that I could get that to sit completely flat, but it never wants to sit flat for me. So anyway, these are small gripes. This is definitely one of the more fan favorite vehicles or figures in this first wave, and I can see why. It looks fantastic. What do you guys think of Trailcutter? I mean, this is a great figure. Definitely Trailbreaker esque, and he's really quite well done. So if you have any questions on Trailcutter or Trailbreaker, if you want to call him that, let me know. Leave a question or message in my YouTube thread here, and I'll definitely try and get back to you. You can always follow me on Facebook. We can chat there, or Twitter. Follow me on Twitter as well, at Cybertronianbeast. Just search Cybertronianbeast on Facebook as well, and that'll be me. Please listen to the podcast I'm on now. I'm on a podcast with 3 other really cool guys. We talk Transformers exclusively, and it's really quite fun. It's called Transmissions, and just search Transmissions, or just go to www.transmissionspodcast.com, and you can check out our podcast. I believe we're at number 4 right now. It just got posted the other day. Anyway, this has been Cybertronianbeast. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.